I want to thank you all for coming to the fundraising seminar. It's a pleasure to have you here.
This is Noah Schumann. I'm bringing the team, the rest of the members from our business team.
Yeah, we are the new Apple Corps. We are Team 93. We are based in Appleton, Wisconsin at Appleton East High School. We have been around for 16 years, and we'd like to share some of our successes and great things that have happened to us with you and how you can do the same.
All right, I'm going to give you a brief background on the team and what we've done over the past 16 years. My name is Sean Schuff. I'm a teacher at Tesla Engineering Charter School, which is housed in Appleton East High School. I've been a mentor on the team for the last 13 years and have seen a lot in that amount of time. Just to give you a brief history on the team, we started in 1996 with two sponsors, two primary sponsors, Lawrence University and Bolt Construction Company, and then the Appleton Area School District. And went through our first season, went to the Midwest Regional in Chicago, and they had a reasonably good showing, and that was pretty much it. We saw one event, but it got the kids very excited about the team. The next year, we actually moved from Appleton North High School to Appleton East High School, and we lost both of our sponsors. They came to us and said, you know, this is great for kids, but we don't see what the return is going to be to us. And at that point in time, Plexus stepped in, and they've been our primary sponsor for the last 15 years. The connection we made with Plexus was the lead mentor on the team, the gentleman who was in my position back when the team first formed, was an electronics teacher at Appleton West High School. One of his students was a gentleman by the name of Dean Fote, who at that time was the president of Plexus Technology Group. So there was a connection there between Jim McCash as the teacher and Dean Fote as the president of a division of Plexus. And they saw the value in what we were doing. And as far as funding goes, what they did was they funded us for the first 5 years, and they basically paid the whole deal. I think their contribution was about $40,000 in the first year, and the idea that they had was that that funding would transition to more of a partnership between them and the school district. So over the course of 5 years, they decreased their funding a little bit at a time as the district increased their funding to the point where it's kind of a 50-50 partnership between the two. There's nothing written down. There's no contract. We've never, had a handshake and yes, we're going to continue funding you if you continue funding, the team. But it's kind of unspoken that, if Plexus stops funding the team, the district isn't going to fund the team. There needs to be a partnership, and that's an understanding between those two organizations. So over the last 15 years, Plexus has been our primary sponsor. And a lot of times people say it's dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket because you've got one primary sponsor, and if you lose that, then you're in trouble because the rest of our sponsors are relatively small. But Plexus is one of those companies, and if you can find a company in your community, they're one of those companies that gets it. They understand the value in doing this, and not necessarily that we're preparing all these people to go to college and then come back and work for Plexus. Although we've had several students who've done that, but they understand the value of doing something like this in their community. They understand the value of contributing to it, not just financially, but in terms of mentors. And we've got about a dozen Plexus employees who mentor our students on a regular basis. So they're, like I said, they're one of those companies that gets it. They understand what this is all about. They get it. And I had the opportunity to talk to Dean Fote at one point in time, and I knew that they got it, but I wanted to know what his take was. And I asked him, why does Plexus contribute to our team year after year after year? And he said it really boils down to one simple thing, and that's leadership. What our team provides is to their mentors, and he put it in terms of that. This is what the team provides to the mentors, not what the mentors provide to the team. But he said that the mentors get the opportunity for leadership, and there really is no other leadership experience like leading high school students. It's not an easy thing to do. I think if you can lead high school students, you can lead anybody, including colleagues in your company. So that's the perspective they take it from. And when we talk to other companies, we explain that this is for your employees to come in. This is an opportunity for them to get these leadership skills. They're working in small groups with these students and explaining how things work. So they have the ability to gain something from it as well as give something. So it's a true partnership and a very much a give and take. So they understand that part of it. They've been a part of our team for, like I said, for the last 15 years, and we've added sponsors and we've fed sponsors come and go, but they've maintained their sponsorship. If you can find a company like that, that's the best way to keep your team sustaining into the future. And companies are looking for what are you going to give them. So if you've never thought of it before, leadership is one of those things that you can kind of sell your team as. This is an experience that your employees can get out of our team. We've won numerous awards. The one we love getting is the Gracious Professionalism Award. I think that more than anything else is important to us because it shows that we understand what FIRST is all about. It's why we came this regional. That and the fact that the Minnesota regionals, the two in Minneapolis are back-to-back with the Wisconsin regional. We don't like going back-to-backs. But it gives us an opportunity to help the other teams that are here. And there's a lot of veteran teams, a lot of very good veteran teams that are here that are helping other teams as well. So that's something that reflects well on our sponsors, and they like to see that too. Would they love to see blue banners and big trophies? I think they would, but I think they also like the fact that we do give back, and what we're trying to teach our students too is giving back to their community, not taking all the time, but sometimes you've got to give too. So that's a team in a nutshell. Any questions for me? I'm going to duck out. All right. Mr. Close? No? Who's next? Oh, Luke and Johanna. Luke and Johanna are both seniors on our team, part of the business group, and they're going to fill you in on what they do and all our other good stuff. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Schiff.
Right, so one of the questions a lot of new budding teams have is what to do outside of getting money from sponsors, because sometimes it's hard to find sponsors, or sometimes it's just not enough. One way we do that back in Wisconsin is we have brat fries. We go out in the public, fry hamburgers, hot dogs, and brats. And it's a good way to get out into the public, show your image. People see your signs down the street saying Robotics team, brat fry. Well, everyone likes food, so they're going to go check it out. But while they're getting the food, you can talk to them about your team and what you do, and it's a great way to get people to understand what you do.
Now, we don't just do brat fry, boom, fundraising, done. Okay? We mix it up a little. Like, for example, there's this one festival back in Appleton called Oktoberfest, and we'll actually sell caramel apples instead of rocks, because where the new apple core kind of works for us. But, that's something that works out in our area really well. Another thing that we have done in the past is we actually teamed up with Davey Nelson. He is a former Major League Baseball player. And we had him signing autographs at one of our brat fries too, and that brought a lot of people in as well. And, that's something you guys can do. Like, for sake, not necessarily go out and do a bunch of brat fries. It works for us. But, do things like that. Like, it doesn't have to be food, but have those kind of activities that both get you that fundraising you need and get you known in your community. So, do you guys have any ideas of what you can do in your community?
Have you guys done the light bulb sales?
Yeah, we have actually, and we've had those displayed at some of our brat fries as well.
Where do you do the brat fries at?
We actually have this really awesome sponsor, Nemeth's Southside Market, and we'll do a lot of our brat fries there. Oktoberfest, that's literally a bunch of stalls lining the streets, and we'll be in that. We actually have 2 stalls, one for our food and one for our robots, so we're demoing and we're selling food. But that's something we like to stress, not just the fundraising aspect of it, but like getting out in our community.
And it kind of sometimes might seem like going out in the public selling food is kind of like lemonade stand thing, like it's not a huge deal, but we raised over $700,000 for one brat fry. That means a lot for a team. And you can always have part of that go to charities or whatever you want.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for coming. My name is Mike Close. I am a year ago, I guess I was promoted to business manager of the team. But I am also the business mentor. 5 years ago, the team went basically 7 to 9 months out of the year. Didn't have a lot of structure to it. They built a robot. They went to competitions. and every May when school ended, they said, we'll see you in September. They realized 6 years ago that there was a very big possibility that with only about 2 or 3 mentors really knowing the function of the team, where the funds come from and things like that, that if they got hit by the proverbial bus, it could be a major problem for the team. So they decided at that point that they wanted to bring in someone with a business background to start a business team. My daughter was a freshman on the team when the decision was made. She came home one day and said, Dad, you're going to be a mentor. I said, okay. She said, they need someone who can write a business plan. I told them, you know how to do it because you wrote one for a friend and they got the loan. So that's kind of how I got recruited. When my daughter was a senior, she was the president of the team. When she graduated, there was some discussion, are you coming back or not? Because my wife also is a mentor on the team. And with the mentors asking me, I thought, well, yeah, it'd be fun, but I'm not sure. But a group of students came up to me and said, Mr. Close, you can't leave. And I couldn't. You know, when they ask you, you stay. So I actually had a student write me a letter that she said I had inspired her with fundraising efforts and things like that to realize that she could go to competitions, that she could raise money, and she was going on to school and she was going to start her own engineering consulting business when she graduated. So when you start getting things like that as a mentor, you say, you know what, I guess I'm serving a purpose and you have to stay. So basically my job right now is I'm the one that comes up with a lot of wild and crazy ideas. These people first roll their eyes and then they roll up their sleeves and they make it happen. All the credit goes to them. But what we try to do is my number one thing when I first came on the team was we make business fun. You're dealing with a lot of technical students that are going to be engineers that have little or no business background, little or no business exposure, and they probably hear nothing but, wow, business is really boring. I think these students can attest that our business team is anything but boring. We have a great time doing stuff. And what we try to do is we try to get out into the community. We try to bring in other sponsors. Mr. Schuff had mentioned about Plexus and the Appleton School District who are mentoring us, who has sponsored us for 15 years. But this year we actually we had 30 new sponsors when we had this banner printed. Since then, number 31 came on board, and we have number 32 waiting in the wings. So what we do is we go out, and you don't necessarily have to look at a sponsor for somebody that's going to give you money. Yeah, money's important. We all know that. But if you can get a sponsor that can help you with materials, if you can get a sponsor that can help you with mentors, if you can get a sponsor that can do any number of things for you that takes some of the pressure off trying to get everything together for a competition, you should welcome them aboard. You know, show them something. What I told our students in the beginning was, you have to give them a bang for their buck, because there are a lot of organizations out there right now that are asking for money. Most of them will take the money, some even say thank you. Very few give anything back to the businesses. So what we developed, number one, was our corporate banner, which we have the different levels, and if you look in the packet on the back, this is our corporate structure for what we do for our sponsors. And one of the big things is we put it on a banner. The banner goes to every competition that we go to. And we go to 2 regionals. We go to the World Championship. We have our brat fries. Joanna had mentioned Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest is they close off the main street in downtown Appleton, and 100,000 people come down and have a good time. And those 100,000 people, a lot of them come to our booth and watch our robot run. We get very involved with Lego League. One of our initiatives in our business plan that we developed deals specifically with bringing Lego League students in. Because if you're looking at sustainability, you need members. And a lot of times, members can be a real crapshoot. You don't know who's coming from one year to the next. You know who's on your team, you don't know who's coming in to replace the ones that graduate. With FLL, you have an absolute built-in feeder system. If you start teaching these students in 4th and 5th grade and working with them all the way through grade school and middle school, When they get out of middle school and come to high school, they've already worked with you for 4 or 5 years. The analogy we like to use is a basketball coach who puts his offense into a grade school and has them work on it all the way up. By the time they're freshmen and they've been running his offense for 4 or 5 years, they're able to literally step on the court and play for him. Same thing with FLL students. And if you get a good, solid FLL program going, you can have a number of students that will be coming on. We have next year, we're anticipating possibly as many as 11 to 13 FLL students coming onto our team, just who have been in our FLL program. More than half of those are young women, so you're getting an influx in your base that you really, really need to have. And if you average that out over 4 years, and you're a new team, and you're bringing in, say, 10 students out of FLL every year, in 4 years, you are going to have 40 students on your team. When you have those 40 students on the team, you can then start utilizing them to help with the fundraising. In your booklet is probably the program we're most proud of. It's called Take Stock in a Student. This was a program we developed to find a way to help students fund their travel costs. It has nothing to do with the team, although the team does have a way to benefit. And with Take Stock in a Student, students can go out to small businesses. Maybe their grandparents own one, maybe an aunt and uncle, maybe a neighbor or a friend of their parents has a small business that they really don't have a big budget to be able to give you a lot of money. But what they do have is a monthly budget of, let's say, $80 a month for advertising. You tell them, okay, if you give us $1,000, which is covering the $80 a month budget, we will give you a stock certificate of appreciation, which we frame. We have the president and vice president sign it. Their name goes on here. Whichever student brought them in does a little personal thank you up in the corner. And then we frame it and we give it to them. And they then not only go on our corporate banner, but they can display this in their showroom, their sales room, however they're set up, to let everyone know. And this is very important to small businesses. They like to be active in the community because they know that's who they serve. So as people come in and start seeing these stock certificates of appreciation hanging out, they start asking questions. And all of a sudden you have people outside the team selling your team for you. So that can be a huge thing to do. It's not easy. You have to persevere with it. And maybe you're saying to yourself, okay, look, we don't have a lot of people. We only have 7 people on the team. We can't possibly have a business team. Well, guess what? That's what we can do for you. We have people from all over that contact us. Can you help us with a business plan? Can you help us do this? Can you help us do that? We'd love to. We're more than happy to. We like doing it. I think we're pretty good at doing it. And we will help you in any way that we can. The only way we can do that, though, is if you ask. If you feel the need and you ask, we'll give you contact information. I have business cards here that we can give you, and we will help you every step of the way that we can. We have a very large budget. I'm not at liberty to tell you what it is, but believe me, it's large. And we would like to help you sustain yourselves to get to that point as well. In the movie Field of Dreams, they talk about if you build it, they will come. If you start building your team with a foundation, like we did 5 years ago, where we went from a team that met 7 to 9 months out of the year, and all of a sudden we introduced a corporate structure. And we literally do have a corporate structure. We have an executive committee, which has a team president and vice president, which are students. Each of our sub-teams, such as business, electrical, things like that, have a sub-team student lead. They're all part of the executive committee. They make all the decisions. The board of directors are a group of mentors, myself, Mr. Schuff, and another one, who will kind of guide them along. And if we see that they need a little bit of help, we'll step in. But from a corporate standpoint, which is something, if you look at what FIRST is doing, if you look at all the teams who have won major awards at nationals the last few years, if you look at what FIRST is pushing towards, it all has a business base. That's why they say it's about more than just the robot. because you really need to find ways to help your team be sustained. I just want to end by telling you, these are just some of the things that our team has been successful at doing. We have 31 business partners and more being added all the time. Take Stock in the Student surpassed $12,000 mark in a little over 3 years. First Trust, which is another initiative we have, which helps existing teams support existing teams, became financially self-sustaining in less than a year. We told the team when we started this initiative that it would not be a drain on the budget, we would not even be part of the budget. But what First Trust does is it has found ways to raise money to help within the community, our FLL initiatives, to help other teams when we go to the Wisconsin regional, things like that. We tailgate and we invite teams to come out and eat with us. And if you look at the prices at sports venues, you know how expensive food can be. We feed teams for a little under $3 a day. It's all you can eat. It's really good food. So that's something First Trust does. First Trust has funded meals and a team bus for FRC teams. We helped Team 171, which is the cheese curd herd from Platteville, land a JCPenney grant. We have a retail store in Appleton that sells First Light bulbs for us with 100% of sales coming back to us. New Applecor celebrates a 15-year partnership with the school district in Plexus. We land funds to fully support and mentor 12 FLL teams. Our school district, by the way, has asked us if we will put one FLL team in every grade school and middle school in Appleton. That's 21. So we're up to 12. We're getting there. We raised $700 to help fly World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. We raised $600 for an orphanage in Africa. This is the second consecutive year that we have been asked to do a sustainability seminar at Minnesota Regionals. New Applecor Robotics was requested to do a robot demo for the CEO of Time Warner Cable, who came in from New York to Appleton and requested specifically to see us. And it doesn't end here because there's almost 4 months left in our fiscal year. Our fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. So if you are looking for help, if even just, to get kick-started and get going, if you're looking for ideas, if you want to trade ideas, please keep us in mind. Don't be afraid to contact us. We go 12 months out of the year, and we're always available. We have 10 robotics camps that we do for grade school and middle school students over the summer, so we're always active. But we will have a question and answer period afterwards. Any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer. And like I said, we would love to work with all of you because the stronger other teams come in first, and the more that existing teams can support existing teams, the stronger we will all become. So thank you for your time. And now, this is Mr. Niles, who is our public relations mentor.
Hello. Mike said my name's Pete Niles, and I'm public relations coordinator. And I'm on the program to talk about raising funds through recycling, and I will, but I also want to talk about opportunities that exist all around us that we might not notice. And I'm going to use my journey with the team as kind of a framework for this. I didn't know a thing about FIRST and robotics 3.5 years ago, and my son came home from school one day, he's a freshman, and told his mom and me, hey, I'm going to join the robotics team. And we're like, great. He's kind of shy, he didn't know a lot of people at the school, and we thought this would be really cool, but we didn't know anything about the team at FIRST. So as the year went by, we picked him up from meetings, and then they got into the build season, and he was gone a lot. And we started showing up at the meetings earlier and earlier every time we went to pick him up just to see what was going on. And we must have looked like we were interested or something because the business manager, Mr. Close over there, approached us and he said, I was wondering if you guys could help the team out a little bit. And we hesitantly said, sure. And what do you got? And he said that they had a whole bunch of cell phones that needed to be recycled. They had worked with a well-known cell phone manufacturer in years previous, and they had collected a bunch of cell phones, but the person who was in charge of it the previous year kind of dropped the ball, and they needed somebody to deal with these cell phones. So we thought, okay, that doesn't sound like a lot of time commitment. We can just one and done kind of thing. We'll take care of it. And so we said, sure. So he told us where we could find the phones, and they're in the storage area, and there were 4 great big tubs of phones, and then a 5th tub that had all the batteries from the phones. And a lot of these phones looked like they could have been used in World War II as walkie-talkies. I mean, these were old, these were heavy, these were boat anchors. So we thought, all right, took them home, looked into getting with this company that I'm not going to mention, but we found out that they were still recycling phones, but they weren't paying much for phones anymore. And as phones got older, they weren't paying anything for them. And most of the phones we had were worthless. So we started looking around for companies. My wife found one in Florida. And here's one of their posters. And we started dealing with these people. They wanted the phones intact, however. So my wife and I spent a whole weekend putting all these phone batteries back, matching them up, trying to get them all back together. And there are over 500 phones. So we, new company had never dealt with them before, so we sent them a test batch of 100 phones. And everything went perfect. They sent us shipping labels, so we didn't have to spend a dime to ship them to them. 3-4 weeks later, we got a check back. Wasn't a huge check. It's 100 phones, and they're really old. We sent the oldest ones. They guaranteed us, though, that they'd give us 50 cents for any phone, working or not. So we got a check for $50, and we thought, hey, this is great. So we boxed up the other 400 phones and shipped them off. Well, 3 years later, after that one-time thing with, hey, can you take care of these cell phones for us? I'm a public relations coordinator with the team. And yes, my wife and I are still doing cell phones. So anyway, the point of this part of the story is you've got parents that might be hanging around, might be, seem like they're interested, might not know anything about technology, and they're kind of afraid to approach anybody, but they might be willing to say yes. Or in my case, they might be dumb enough not to understand what's happening until it's too late. But anyway, opportunities are all around. Sticking with the cell phones for a minute, we told the students, go out, find cell phones, bring them in. We will track what phones people bring in, and they will get credit for them. When we get the check back, everything's itemized, so we know exactly how much the phones are worth, and they will get all the credit, and it'll go into their travel accounts. One of the students got his grandparents involved. They were at a mall, and all these ubiquitous cell phone stores that they see there. They went up to one of the kiosks and they said, do you guys have old cell phones? What do you do with your phones when people get a new phone? And they said, well, we've got them right here. And they gave them a bag with 70 phones in it. Because they didn't, I'm guessing they probably keep the best ones, but the older ones, they're not worth anything to them. So he brought in this bag with 70 cell phones in it. My son noticed at a local grocery store, they had a cell phone recycling bin. And we asked the store manager, what do you do with these phones? And he said, well, the bin's actually from a wireless company, and they haven't been back in months. So I said, can you have one? He said, sure. I'm sick of looking at the bin. Go ahead. So there were over 40 phones in there, too. So, oh, and also, I have one of these hanging outside my office at work. I haven't kept strict count, but I know I've got at least 150 phones from people and from my company, our IT people. When they change out phones or whatever, they got old phones or broken phones, they know where to go. They bring them right to me. And speaking of my employer, another opportunity that I had no idea existed until I became involved with the team and realized that funds were needed, was that they have a program for volunteers in the community. If you volunteer with a nonprofit organization, you can submit an application for a grant. So I did that. I didn't have a lot of experience my first year with the team, but I wrote a little essay. Bam, $1,000. The next year, I had a little more experience. I was a mentor second year and wrote a better essay. Bam, another $1,000. This year, I'm hoping to go 3 for 3. But anyway, I didn't need to be a formal mentor with the team, just volunteer. And I'm sure that, you know, the point of this part of the thing is, again, parent involvement. Mr. Close saw some parents that were hanging around, thought they might be able to help, and now we're, you know, actually writing grants, getting cell phones, a continuous type thing. It wasn't a one-shot deal. Other opportunities are literally lying on the ground. I walk every day at work, about 3 miles. I pick up aluminum cans on my walk every day. I've had days where I picked up 4 pounds of aluminum. It's amazing what you see, what people throw on the ground, or what you know, they recycle, they put in community recycling programs. I have my parents, my sister, and my mother-in-law all saving aluminum for us. You know, this isn't a team fundraising thing, that's a personal fundraising thing for us. And we use all the aluminum that we collect to help pay for my son's travel. But it could be a team fundraising. You know, that's the type of thing where if you can coordinate large groups or your school into doing aluminum can collecting, I noticed last week it's up 7 cents from what it was a week before, so aluminum's going up again. Also, most of these robots out here are made out of aluminum, or a large part is aluminum. And there were a lot of scraps of aluminum in our storage area. And I've taken 3 loads over the last couple of years to recycling, and I just gave our team director over $50 for a bunch of scraps that I cleaned out and took out there. So, another idea that my wife and I have kicked around a little bit is the rummage sale. I don't know, I've heard garage sales, yard sales, thrift sales, but I don't use rummage. The team hasn't had one yet, and during the summers we are very busy with robot demonstrations, brat fries, and that type of thing. But just as an example of what kind of money can be raised, my church has an annual rummage sale, and they raise over $40,000 every year. And there is no investment cost at all. Everything's donated. The only thing that's invested is time. So that's the type of grassroots kind of thing that you can build. You know, you can start having it. You can find a weekend every year, do the same type thing, get team involvement, parents, extended, you know, networks, extended family, donating stuff. You can raise a lot of money that way. And I also want to mention the light bulbs. Dean came in and first are really pushing the light bulbs. And we have another team parent who owns a small business, and he bought a whole case, just one parent to use in his business. And we're working on other team parents and extended networks that way too, with the light bulbs. And as Mr. Close mentioned, there's a local business that is selling them for us. They're a eco-friendly tech company, so it's perfectly in line with them. So opportunities are all around us if we open our eyes to them. The most important thing is to not try and go it alone, but to reach out and engage parents of your team members. Okay? I'm going to throw it back to Jamie and Noah here.
Just another point I'd like to really stress is make fundraising fun. If you do fundraising, it's a wonderful thing to get money and it's a wonderful thing to give back to the community, but it's especially empowering to the people on your team and the kids there if you have them have fun. We have so much fun doing brat fries and things like that. It's really a great experience. I'm going to toss it to you who has mentors.
We have a program that we do every competition, off time, anytime we need it. It's Team 93 has mentors, which we will help you. If you need help with something, come find us. We're here, over in the corner, but we're here. Come ask if you need someone to help you with something that you don't know how to do. We'll send someone over to help you with any part of your robot that you need. Any questions that you need answered, we will help you with them.
Yes, HAS also stands for Help Across State. So we have mentors that are willing to, and mentoring that basically we can reach out across states. We will come and help you pretty much with, like, if you really need help, like keeping a team alive or helping like start another team, for example. We are more than happy to help, and you can contact us anytime. Next year, currently Luke and Johanna are the chairmans and business sub-team leads. next year me and Jamie will be. So be willing to contact us, Mr. Close, Mr. Niles, and even Johanna and Luke about any questions that you have. Then you have the email address for our business team is on Mr. Close's card. And then what is the email address exactly again? Exactly?
Exactly is it's nac team93.business@gmail.com, which is why it's on my business card. It's a whole heck of a lot easier.
Yes. Yes, so feel free to contact us anytime about any questions on anything that has to do with robotics, or if you want to talk to us. We like to think we're interesting people. And then,
We just would like to say thank you so much for coming. This means a lot. We love helping other teams be able to compete every year.
yes. And then we'd like to open it up for a question and answer session right now. You can ask us pretty much any question that you'd like to ask, and all of us would be happy to answer.
I want to thank you for this presentation. You know, it's always good to hear other avenues to pursue. So thank you very much for
Yes, you're
Okay,
very welcome.
thank you.
For coming.
Thank you for coming.
Actually, you guys are overwhelming me with the information, and but I want to ask you a little bit on the cell phone thing again. So